Well, here's my newest addition to my collection of fans. This is my 10-inch Westinghouse LivelyAire, number 10 LA4. And I got this one today at my favorite flea market in Virginia. I went there and I had the best luck I have ever had there. I scored this for 36 bucks, even though it's really not worth that much money. But you know, I liked it. I thought it was cute. And I also found 2 Fire-X smoke alarms there, which is strange because I've never found any smoke alarms there. But yeah, this is the 10-inch version. Of course, that is comparing to my 12-inch right here. This is the one I got from my uncle. And you've seen that in videos before. And you can see there are some differences. Let's start with the blades. You can see the 12-inch model has little links between the blades. I know that on Lasco box fan they called it the brace bladed fan. The 10-inch blade doesn't have that link. Also, a good thing about this fan is it has its original center cap on the blades. I know most of the times those are gone. They're very notorious for being gone. So, another difference, the bases. As you can see, the 12-inch base has holes for wall mounting. The 10-inch base does not. And on the bottom of the 10-inch base, well, let's start with the 12-inch, there is a plate that is covered with felt. Of course, this one is rust-stained. And that is there to hide the resistor, which controls the speeds. This one has absolutely nothing in the base, no mounting for a resistor. Needless to say, this fan only has 1 speed, so it's a single speed fan unlike the 12-inch model. And since it doesn't have a cloth covered head wire, let me put this back up, which goes from the motor housing into the neck. Instead, the power cord comes out of the motor directly, goes into the motor, and there's a strain relief clip attached to it. There was a rubber grommet there, but that broke off. Unfortunately, it crumbled into a million pieces. I'll probably go out and get a new rubber grommet at the hardware store to replace it with, because that doesn't look too pretty right there. But it'll work for now. And there's the strain relief clip I was telling you about right there. See if I can get a good view of this. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Turn it around to the side. The cages are quite different. Let me show you the cages. This cage has 1, 2, 3. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4. So, yeah. And the motor housing, they're basically the same. This one's much smaller. This one's much bigger. Also, the motor housing on this one, the ribs are shined. They don't have any of that mauve colored paint. On this one, the ribs have been painted with the same color, and that was like that when I got it. It was actually that came out of the factory like that. And it's actually some 12-inch models have the shiny ribs, which is interesting. Oscillator's the same. I need to scrape more of this grime off the oscillator. That was like that when I got it. Actually, this one was like that when I got it too. I scraped it off. It took me hours. The switch on this one is on the side of the motor, unlike the 12-inch where the switch is at the base. And there's actually a little dimple right there where the switch would go, I guess. But there's no little thing for the power cord to come out. Actually, that's probably where the power cord will come out, because the switch is mounted kind of like right here. There's nothing for the switch there. Yeah, the little the little nut that holds the head in place is well, it's a very elegant painted sort of oval shaped thing. It's been painted the same color as the fan. On this one, it's just a simple butterfly nut. Yeah. So, mounting is a little bit different. You can see the neck bracket is a bit beefier on that one. On this one, it's very small. So yeah, that's the differences. Oh, and the motors. I almost forgot. The motor. This one's motor is very small. This one has a very big motor. Well, it's not big, but it's the windings aren't covered by anything. You can kind of see the windings in there, and on this one they're covered, but they're insulated. And also the motor's much smaller. The rotor is like a quarter of the size of this one's rotor, and this one's rotor has cooling fins on it, which this one does not. Yeah, the bearings are all the same. The gearbox is basically the same. So, yeah, that's the differences. That took a little longer than I expected. So, this one has its original power cord. I believe it's the original. And it is, let me just unplug it and show you it for a second. Let me put the camera down for a second. Oh, can't get it. Oh, there we go. So there's the plug. It's a little bent. This prong's a little bent, but that was like it when I got it. This one's made by a company called Belden. That one's plug is made by a company called Philco. So I don't know if there's a difference. Plug it back in. And the plug isn't polarized either. Neither of the plugs are polarized. So let's turn it on. Like I said, it's a single speed fan. So I'm going to turn it on. And it blows a lot of air. You might be able to see oscillating very slightly. It's very quiet. Well, it's quieter than my Vornado that I have downstairs. This fan is probably going to be going in place of the Vornado burst that I put downstairs. One thing I'm concerned about, though, is its motor gets fairly hot. Well, it's not really hot, but it gets warm. This one's motor does not get, after hours and hours and hours of use, this one's motor barely gets warm at all. The resistor in the base is another story, though. Even the resistor doesn't get as warm as some that I've seen. But yeah, it's very quiet. It's moving a lot of air. I can feel it. You can probably hear the wind noise. So, let's check the spin down time. And I took it apart and I cleaned it out thoroughly. I cleaned all the dust out of the top vents and oiled it and cleaned off the bearings and such. I looked in the gearbox. The gearbox was fine. And it's got a really good spin down. And I did oil it. Like I said, I cleaned the oil wicks. The oil wicks were completely dry. But when I got the fan, it actually had quite a good spin down time. But now it has even a better spin down time. So now let's engage the oscillator. And of course, everybody knows how to engage these oscillators. I think I still need to clean the little pin that holds the arm onto the oscillator. Onto the oscillator wheel, at least. Okay, let's turn it on, and with the now here's the fan with the oscillation. And I got lucky. This one's oscillator does work. I was worried about that the oscillator wouldn't work. These oscillators are very touchy. Actually, they're not as touchy as bursted oscillators. I got lucky with that Vornado bursted too. I was lucky its oscillator worked. Has a rather fast oscillation sweep, but I don't mind. Okay, let's check the spin down with the oscillation. Still pretty good spin down. Okay, well, let me disengage the oscillator. And that is just about it. So, the only thing not to love about this fan is that it only has one speed, which is a major downside to the fact that the 12-inchers had 2 speeds. Yeah. So, that is my 10-inch Westinghouse LivelyAire, my 4th addition to my fan collection. Thank you so much for watching, and please have a good day.